Welcome to Identity and Politics, North America's newest podcast. Introducing fellow podcastman Charles Bell, Trad Overlord, and I'm Dean Vance. Issue 1, English Child Sacrifice. Yesterday, English toddler Alfie Evans passed away. Evans needed surgery and medical care. Alfie, who was admitted to Alder Hey Hospital in December 2016, was diagnosed with a neurodegenerative disease associated with a severe epilepsy and had been in a semi-vegetative state for more than a year. During that time, he was kept alive by artificial ventilation in the critical care unit. Alfie's father had traveled to Rome earlier this month to meet Pope Francis, who had expressed his backing for their cause, and a hospital in Rome offered to treat the toddler. However, a visit to Alfie, in consultation with his doctors, led Roman doctors to conclude that the child's condition was irreversible and untreatable, according to a statement from Alder Hey. Charles, what is your thoughts on the Alfie Evans situation?
Well, firstly, I think it's overall just a horrible situation for the kid. And, I really feel for his family, firstly. But I really think when it comes to it and the United Kingdom's government order, not to feed him and allow no food to him, basically allowing him to die. So when it comes to this, I really just feel bad for him. It's unfortunate he had this and a disease and that doctors couldn't help him.
Right. I think it's sad that there was really nothing the UK could do or doctors could do, which is sad, but at the same time, it should be up to the parents, but the UK made it up to the government instead.
Yeah, and I think really it's always a tough decision. The parents never want to, especially the mother, never want to see their child die. Someone who they carried for 9 months prior to their birth. But I do think that the UK didn't fully hear the family's case. Yeah, they heard it, but what was their motive behind everything? Did they really take it into consideration? I mean, I'm not saying they took it lightly, but just to let a kid starve to death and not feed him is kind of very unethical to me.
And the UK has had, it's been a very eventful past 4 or 5 years for the UK, with terrorist attacks, with migration, acid attacks, terrorist attacks. How is that? Do you think that is at all tied to their mindset when it comes to something like this? That they've been through, tough things have happened to the government. The government has been put in a tough spot. Do you think that is impacted, or that impacts this situation?
I really don't, because whenever you take a look at those are more political issues, and you could say that they made it political. Even though the UK courts decided to let him starve, but it is kind of an odd turn of events that kind of makes you wonder, where does the United Kingdom stand morally in their government, and really where are the United Kingdom's and really Great Britain's nationalists who need to be really pushing for really more moral value.
And he was in a near vegetative state. So then you have to ask yourself, when is it cruel? When does this become a negative influence on everyone?
Well, you take a look at the United States. If someone is on life support and they're going to die, or they're brain dead, or anything, or if they're even responsive, they can't say, "Yeah, doc, pull the plug."
Right.
Yeah. And it's like, the doctor who knows the actual situation can't pull the plug on them, but the government can order the doctor to do something not under the doctor's discretion.
Right.
It kind of that doesn't go hand in hand there, and really, it just baffles me that this could happen.
Do you think if Alfie Evans was Indian or African American at all, that this would have still happened? Because if Alfie was black, this would have, and they didn't do anything, it would have been considered very racist.
Yeah, well, I do agree that would be considered very racist. And really, I'll be honest, the white community is very much way too tolerable when it becomes this thing. When it comes to these things.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, you know, we need to have our own brand, kind of like the black people do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with, I mean, they have beat black entertainment television.
Yeah.
You know, we need something for white America. You know, that's not considered racist. And, you know, we don't stand up for ourselves. So, really, in turn, you know, it's always like, you know, let's push the whites in the back corner.
And it's almost like how people say that Democrats are the real racists, which isn't really true. I mean, you could have made that point you could have made the case for that at one point throughout American history, but now, who has open borders, Republicans or Democrats? It's Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
They're obviously not racist. They want non-whites to come in. So you can't call the UK government racist because they continually let in whoever they want. And it's not like we have Serbians or Italians trying to move into
Mm-hmm.
the UK. There are Syrians, Pakistanis, Indians, Asians, Somalians trying to move in the UK. So you can't call them racist.
No, but you got to take a look at it this way, you know. Yeah, they don't understand what they're... I don't think they're racist, but I don't think they're...
They could be racist towards whites.
They very well could be. They very well... We need diversity, you know. It kind of become a thing, you know, a lot of white people run the United Kingdom, you know. They're in the head positions kind of like a lot of Jewish people are in the United States, you know, big donors.
Mm-hmm.
But, with that being said, I think open borders are just trying to push for diversity in order to gain political ground.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the Democratic Party of the United States tries to do.
Yeah. I mean, they want votes. I mean, Theresa May wants votes. Her party wants votes. And it's getting to the point where white Britons, which shouldn't even be a term, but white Britons aren't going to turn out for her like they will nationalist candidates, which she's not one when it comes down to it.
And really, it comes down, you know, that you have a very you really need, you have a nationalist. You need to have a very motivated support from your base, you know. So really, to build that energy, and really, who has the energy in their campaign, what people are excited about their candidate, will depend on really who's going to lead the way coming forward.
There's no passion in the UK. There's no positive passion.
Well, I tell you this: there will be passion once the original Great Britons that are there, citizens, before the immigrants start coming, flowing in. Until they realize they're too far gone, that's when they're going to get all real nationalistic.
If you look at British society, videos of British society in parks or something, it's so beautiful. It's like it's out of a 1950s, you know, Christmas movie.
Mm-hmm.
But now, all these non-whites flooding into the UK is detrimental to everyone, even themselves. I mean, Somalians leave Somalia because it's Somalia. And then they come to the UK and they make it Somalia. Yeah,
and really, you gotta look at it this way. You know, when you have people move in, like you just said, they want to make it Somalia. You know what? When you come to the United Kingdom, you come to the United Kingdom. You live the United Kingdom way. It's just like Americans. You know, when you come to the United States, you speak English.
And we can get into this to another time, but the UK has some of the strongest censorship laws in the world. I mean, they call, you know, Iran a dictatorship or China names, but we saw this with a YouTuber and a guy on Twitter, Count Dankula, who his pug was doing Nazi salutes, and he was in trial for a year. These hate crimes are geared towards whites. Hate crimes are anti-white. So.
Yeah, and you know, I think that through all of this, you know, you want to talk about Theresa May like you did earlier. You know, first off, she needs to step up. She's a straight joke. And you want to talk about, you know, the United Kingdom being this free country and everything, which in reality they technically are. Mm-hmm. But really, what they're doing is really starting to make themselves not free to an extent, because they're letting in all these people that are really suppressing their values and bringing double standards over white people.
They're still a sovereign nation, but sometimes sovereignty is not good. for certain nations. Exit question. What is the moral state of the UK when it, and this is kind of a question that relates to its immigration plan, which is very open, very anti-white. It's this situation as well. It's anti-Trumpness because Trump is going to be visiting the UK anytime, and they call him morally bad because he says mean things. Yet they viewed this as morally okay with the Alfie Evans situation. So what is the moral state of the United Kingdom?
Yeah, and you know, I can't speak for all the Great Britain citizens when they say they think it's morally okay. Their government most certainly thought it was morally okay.
Right.
And that's the real issue. Because the government workers, they're the decision makers. And when you kind of talk about Trump, and let's talk government right now, they're talking Trump. And here they are saying he's mean, and they just let a kid die. You know, and he said some things about women. Okay, he said some things about his political running opponents during the primaries.
And he said a lot of things about Muslims.
Yeah, which weren't wrong.
Weren't wrong at all. I mean, his campaign was beautiful, and there's more and more Muslim politicians in the UK every month. Think about 3 years from now. Think about 6 years from now.
Well, the impressive thing is, you got all these immigrants who are voting in the UK. You know, and really, I'm actually surprised that they have came that far west in Europe to get to the United Kingdom. You know, well, don't get me wrong, Germany, Poland, you know, Sweden, they're all getting these immigrants. You know, good and bad. Like Donald Trump says, there's some bad hombres. Okay, so when you look at it, it just amazes me how Muslims are running for office and they're getting elected at record numbers. But the really astonishing thing is, there's Muslim people voting for them that are citizens.
And this whole thing has been pushed from feminism. Feminism in the UK was what really started it all.
Oh, yeah.
It's so bad. I mean, we think it's bad here. It's even worse over there. So, the moral state of the UK, to sum up, is not good.